Hi, Bill.
Hi, Ken. When did you get here?
I'm not.
You've been here all the time, haven't you?
No, I'm not here yet.
You know, Ken, George Hayduke said, when the situation is hopeless, there's nothing to worry about. I want you to keep repeating that over and over inside your head. When the situation is hopeless, there's nothing to worry about.
Or, as Raoul Duke, a.k.a. Hunter S. Thompson, said, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro.
Good. I'm gonna get a Negroni, and then we're gonna start. Oh, what a wonderful day! Hi, everybody. Hello. Nice to see you all. Jimmy has got a little intro for us here. Ken Sanders is settling in with a beverage, and you're feeling calm.
No.
No.
Do you feel calm, Bill?
I am. Listen, I have everything under control. Everything under control. Jim has a few words he's going to impart to us, and then we will get underway talking about the Monkey Wrench Gang and the unique opportunity we have to talk to someone who has intimately been involved with this novel and its author for. It's been part of your life for years, hasn't it?
About 50.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
My pleasure.
You want to say a few words to the folks?
Yeah, I'll grab
Thank
the
you,
microphone
Jim.
real quick.
Well, you could use mine. You don't want to get my germs, I know.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here at Literary Libations at the Clubhouse. Who's ever been to the Clubhouse before? Anybody been in this space? Isn't this a beautiful space? Who's ever attended one of our Literary Libations before? Very nice.
Jimmy, I've been to all.
You've been to all
six.
of them. Physically, you've been here. Physically. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name's Jimmy Santangelo. Joining us, my name's Jimmy Santangelo. We're joined here by Ken Sanders of Ken Sanders Rare Books, Bill Allred of X96, and my name's Jimmy with the Wine Academy of Utah. We created this podcast a few years back. It was a few months back. How long ago? Ken, I've only known you a few months, but it feels like years. It just
Likewise,
feels like
Jimmy.
It's been about a year.
It's been about a year. This is our eighth Literary Libations. It's been a lot of fun. Literary Libations, books and
booze. Is that what you wanted to call it?
Books and booze. I mean, what are my two favorite things? The way that we like to do this is we start off with a sparkling wine cocktail. I would also like to thank our friends at Beehive Cheese for that charcuterie. Heather, thank you so much. Beehive cheese is available throughout our community. I'm sure you've had it in the past. And definitely pick up some at Harmon's or your favorite grocer. And we start with a nice little sparkling wine, a little charcuterie, and then we pair a cocktail to the reading. We'll talk more about that here in a second. But I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining us, because this is kind of cool. This ain't happening across the country, what we're doing here. Bringing together, pairing booze with literature and such deep knowledge and experience that Ken is going to bring to it through Bill's just amazing interviewing style. So cheers, everybody. Let's raise a glass. So if you have one, thank you very much for joining us here. 50th anniversary Monkey Wrench Gang, Literary Libations.
Thanks, Jim. This is, I think we've done 8 or 9 of these in the past. And if the author we're talking about today, it was the first one we ever did. We did, I think, Edward Abbey Desert Solitaire was the first literary libations we did. Wasn't that right?
That's correct.
And so we've done a lot of great authors, Willa Cather, Wallace Stegner, Dorothy Parker, more. And if you're interested in any of that, they're available online. If you look them up on YouTube, just look up Literary Libations on YouTube. Those are all available online. And you will all be available online when we're done with this one today. When you look up Literary Libations, though, be aware there are several other people who do things that they call literary libations, but I guarantee you, none of them look like we do. So,
That's why it's a radio show.
Yeah. This is our second collaboration with the fine folks here at this incredible venue, the Clubhouse. The Clubhouse.
The former Ladies Literary Society for 100+ years.
Ladies Literary Club. The importance of the Ladies Literary Club in history, its history as well as the architecture. This building was designed by a local architectural firm, and the building is significant because it's a great example of the Prairie School influence of building in Utah. Historically, it's important because it's the home of the oldest women's club west of the Mississippi.
Yay!
The Ladies Literary Club had its beginnings in 1877 here in Salt Lake and was incorporated in 1882. Apparently, I guess the Ladies Literary Club started the very first public lending library in Salt Lake City was it the basement of the city-county building? 1910. The club inhabited several venues as it grew ever larger until it became necessary to have a big venue, and this is where they settled in 1913. In 1913, the Ladies Literary Club 2013, the Ladies Literary Club donated this building to the Heritage Foundation, and then a couple of years later, the building was sold to the Photo Collective Studios. That was in 2016. By the way, this building was also used, the Utah Symphony used to practice in this room before they had a practice space at Symphony Hall. The Ladies Literary Club would let them practice here.
Wow.
But now let's get on to our book.
And Bill, the gentleman responsible for that is right here, David Brewer, owner and operator of the Clubhouse. Thank you very much for your
This year is the 50th anniversary of the publishing of the Monkey Wrench Gang, which along with its predecessor, Desert Solitaire, became a handbook for what many call the radical environmental movement. This book is a rollicking, often cartoonish adventure that moves at breakneck speed for about 350 pages as the four main characters set out to sabotage the machines that are defiling the environment. And the ultimate goal of our outlaw heroes is to drain Lake Powell by destroying the Glen Canyon Dam. We all probably know that. You've all probably read the book. But now the man, the myth, the legend, Ken Sanders, who started selling books about 50 years ago, right, Ken?
Well, longer ago than that. I had a mail order business in high school when I was 16 years old, and I was selling underground comic books like Zap and Robert Crumb, and my ads would say, you must be 18 or older to buy these books. But I wasn't buying them, I was selling them.
So Ken, let's get into some personal stories about Ed Abbey, but I want to ask you about, tell me what it was like the first time you had a copy of the Monkey Wrench Gang 50 years ago, and you put it on shelves for sale. Did it sell immediately? Was it a big seller? What were the feelings you had about it? What was this whole thing like?
J.P. Lippincott, a now defunct New York publisher, printed 5,000 copies of the original hardbound Monkey Wrench Gang, and they remaindered them, which means it didn't sell out 5,000 copies, Bill. And by remaindering, we have a first edition out with Gabriella in the sales department out in the lobby. The bottom of the books would have usually a black magic marker slash on them. That's an indication of a book that tanked when it was first published. They couldn't sell out 5,000 copies.
How many of those 5,000 copies did you have to sell from your?
Well, I'm pretty sure I sold all 5,000 of them, Bill. What?
Eventually.
That might be an exaggeration.
So no, but
they're not $17.95 anymore. They're like $500. For the first edition?
But what was, so it didn't sell very well at first.
No.
How did it take off?
Well, they made the movie. Oh, wait a minute. No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They've never made the movie. That the wrong answer there, Bill. Today it's sold, I don't know, 2-3 million copies. What made it sell?
Yeah.
Well,
If you knew that.
I don't know it. Edward Abbey wrote 21 books. I'd submit to you that Desert Solitaire and the Monkey Wrench Gang, as they couldn't be more different books. A lot of people don't like Monkey Wrench Gang because it's too frivolous, too comedic, too...
I hadn't read it. I read it probably in the 70s, and I hadn't read it since then. And so I reread it recently for doing this. And I had forgotten it's a cartoon. It's just it's slapstick. It's most of it's really funny in a lot of ways. And it's also interesting. People think of it as a book about violence and people destroying machinery and they're going to blow up the dam. And all. There's not one single. I don't think is there a single death in the book. Nobody. I don't think anybody dies. Nobody gets severely injured.
No, and people, especially in these times, people ask about this whole issue of violence that's plaguing our country and the world. Abbey tried to deal with that because one of the chapters in here, the gang decides to blow up this automatic coal train that's running from Black Mesa. There's no humans on it. And the day they're going to blow it up, there's a guy aboard.
They see a guy on it, and it makes them sick.
The morality of violence. Yeah. I mean, we can't get off on those tangents too much.
Let's. By the way, anytime you want to talk or ask questions or participate in the discussion, don't just let us babble at you. If you have comments to make or you want to say something, please. Jimmy's got a microphone; he can bring it to you, and you just raise your hand or yell or something like that, or throw a cocktail at us.
It can be difficult, particularly to get my attention, but we want to hear from you. We want to know what you think, what questions you might have, what comments you might have.
But Ken, could I have your attention here, please? Ken?
No, Bill.
Ken, right here. I need your attention. So you're intimately familiar with this book. You've probably read it way more than once. Do you have a favorite kind of passage from the book?
Yes.
Will you read some to us?
Yes. Dawson, could you get Gabby to bring our Crumb Illustrated Monkey Wrench Gang up here, please? Thank you. Yes, Bill, but to not do what you say, I'm going to read a passage from Desert Solitaire first.
Okay.
As is my wont. You know this well. I don't follow direction well.
I know you don't.
Bill, did you know I graduated from high school in 1970?
I didn't know that. I'm surprised that you graduated from high school.
Both myself and the school. We had a deal. They were going to let me graduate. We had a deal because as long as I never had to come back to that miserable effing place, and they didn't want me back, and I didn't want to go back. So we had a deal. I think I had a 0.5 GPA. I may be exaggerating how high it was.
You want to say what fucking high school it was?
Every school I've ever gone to got torn down. Granite High School. Me and Trent Harris, the filmmaker, we went to Granite High School together.
So have you got something you want to read for us there?
Yeah. Two things. One's short, one's not. No, they're both short. Desert Solitaire comes from 2 or 3 seasons Edward Abbey spent as a park ranger in Arches National Monument in the 1950s. As Ed likes to tell the story, at that time, the entrance, there's a whole built-up dinosaur chamber of horrors out by Dead Horse Point and the Eye on the Sky part of Canyonlands. And there's all this development out there now. It's horrifying. That's where the entrance road to Arches was. It's still there. You can find it. and go in the way Ed did. And the original road ended when you got to Balanced Rock. So Ed, there's a great film, Eric Temple's film, Voice in the Wilderness, where it shows him, well, I'd come out here, and he undoes this folding chair. I'd sit about here, wait for tourists, if any.
They ask him things like, where's the bathroom?
So from the original introduction to the 1968, which this isn't, obviously, publication of Desert Solitaire.
Get close to the microphone, Ken. You're fine. Just
You and your, I don't like these things. Finally, a word of caution. Do not jump into your automobile next June and rush out to the canyon country, hoping to see some of that which I have attempted to evoke in these pages. In the first place, you can't see anything from a car. You've got to get out of the goddamn contraption and walk, better yet, crawl on hands and knees over the sandstone and through the thorn bush and cactus. When traces of blood begin to mark your trail, you'll see something. Maybe, probably not. In the second place, most of what I write about in this book is already gone or going under fast. This is not a travel guide, but an elegy, a memorial. You're holding a tombstone in your hands, a bloody rock. Don't drop it on your foot. Throw it at something big and glassy. What do you got to lose?
all right.
Okay, that's the thing you asked me not to read, or something like that. Bill, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe what you asked me to read was my favorite scene from Monkey Wrench Gang.
Yeah, that's what I asked you to do. I knew you wouldn't do it right off the bat. You would do something else. So, but now you'll do it, right?
Of course.
All right, please.
As is my want.
Yes.
W-O-N-T.
I understand old-fashioned English.
You know, there are a lot of great death scenes in literature, right? Probably all have our favorites. One of my favorites, next to this one, is the scene out of Hamlet. I'm not sure I can remember the names anymore. They're turning the palace over in Denmark looking for, I don't know, Mercurial. I don't remember anymore. It's been too long since I read it. And Hamlet makes the comment, if you don't find him, I'm paraphrasing Shakespeare here, let me tell you. If you don't find him by and by, you might smell him out under the stairs. Now that's a great death scene. But my favorite Edward Abbey death scene is, it's a scene in the Monkey Wrench Gang down the, kind of Ernie's Country portion of the Maze District, south of the Maze proper, and Hayduke they're in hot Bishop Love in his sheriff's department. Calvin Black, San Juan County, are in hot pursuit of Hayduke, and Hayduke comes up with a plan. But let's let Edward Abbey tell it. Hayduke, shirtless, shoved a sandstone fulcrum against the rock he wanted to move. Strained and levered, the boulder flopped onto the road, came to rest in the center of the way. Let's try for something bigger. He dragged the bar upgrade toward a monster block of fallen cliff. After 2 minutes of struggle, he succeeded. The boulder moved, turned, began to roll with a will all its own. Hayduke slid down the bank, getting out of the way. The boulder rolled across the jeep trail, over the edge and down the slope, bounding from obstacle to obstacle in a jackrabbit course towards some point of repose. Pale faces in the shadows down yonder looking up, but Hayduke, triumphant, was already searching for his next missile. Let them come. Let them try and come. He'd bombard their asses with a fuselage of boulders. The first rock came to a halt in the rubble at the slope's foot. He looked for the next. The team was coming. 4 vehicles in motion, taking the left fork, the path seldom used, following Hayduke and Smith. Hayduke worked 2 more big rocks onto the roadway, took off for higher ground, carrying canteen in one hand, the heavy bar in the other. Heart-pounding chest laboring, his broad brown and hairy back shining under a film of sweat. Hard labor. He was not in the shape he should be, and barely beyond rifle range. That target point between his shoulder blades tingled with the old familiar cellular dread. He trotted along, searching out likely rocks, found 2 more and paused long enough to hoist them off their bases and onto the roadway. The sun dropped at last beyond the rim of the plateau. A shadow huge as the state of Connecticut crept across the heat-veiled land of rock, heart of the Canyonlands. All action slowed to low gear place. Smith, about 2 miles ahead, worried, anxious, looking for safety. Hayduke panting in the middle, dragging his 20-pound cast iron bar. Bishop Love and the team, plus the Caterpillar operator in the yellow pickup, closing in from the rear. The team was not stopped by any of Hayduke's rocks. The Caterpillar man also had a bar. The chase proceeded, uphill in slow motion. No shooting, some shouting, rather dull, until Hayduke reached a strategic position 3 switchbacks ahead and above, where he found what he was looking for. It was a massive chunk of Navajo sandstone, in shape and size like a sarcophagus, nicely balanced on a natural pedestal. Breathing hard and sweating like a horse, Hayduke reached it, groped around for the best fulcrum, jammed the bar in place, put his weight on the free end, tested. The stone moved, ready to roll. He waited. Above, out of sight, he heard Smith driving upward, 1,000 feet below and 3 switchbacks down. The leading blazer poked its nose around a corner. The bishop himself. In a moment, the target would be in range. All 3 blazers came into view, groaning up the grade, the yellow pickup following. Hayduke pushed. The boulder creaked, tilted over, began to tumble. Though he knew he ought to run, Hayduke stayed to watch. The boulder rolled down the talus over the mass of debris, a clumsy but formidable object. It did not gain speed. The line of fall was not steep enough, the friction and interference too great, but it continued to descend, ponderous and single-minded as a steamroller, dislodging other big rocks as it blundered on, acquiring followers, outriders, satellites, and acolytes, with the net result that not one rock, but a herd of rocks came down to greet and meet the San Juan County Search and Rescue Team. The team, incidentally, was beyond the bounds of its proper jurisdiction, having passed the county line when it crossed the bridge over Narrow Canyon. The men below, stopped by another obstacle in the road, stared up the talus slope. Some took shelter behind their vehicles, others stood and dodged. Most of the rocks passed them safely by. Nobody got hit. But the granddaddy rock, Hayduke's boulder, bounding straight ahead, smashed to the stop on the lead vehicle, Bishop Love's blazer. There was an anguished crush of steel as the blazer, squirting vital internal juices in all directions, oil, gas, grease, coolants, battery acids, brake fluids, windshield wash, sank and disappeared beneath the unspeakable impact. Wheels spread-eagled, body crushed like a bug. The precious fluid seeps outward from the squashed remains, staining the roadway. The boulder remained in place, pinning down the carcass at repose.
I don't believe but Bishop Love was not dead.
No, just his
Just his
blazer.
His car was.
Well, see, that's the whole problem with the morality of violence in America. We've long espoused, as long as you just torture and kill and maim people, we've always supported that. It's violence against property that sends us around the bend.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. Jim has prepared this cocktail for us. By the way, any questions? Please, any questions or comments?
We got a couple of questions that I know I chatted with some people out there. But for the cocktail, everybody have the cocktail. This mezcal and Negroni. So we have Oaxaca mezcal. And so mezcal and tequila, right? Anybody drink tequila before? Anybody regret drinking tequila before? I remember doing a tasting and somebody was tasting tequila and asked her for her tasting notes. She was like, freshman year, college. Or of regret, either one. And you guys have some way. I've got a picture of it. I have a whole bottle. Oh, and by the way, this mezcal is agave-based spirit. It's a little bit of a color in there. It's got aged for a year in barrels, so that's where that color is coming from. And you got this smokiness happening to it. And then we're pairing it because I wanted the smoke of the desert. We all go with southern Utah. All I remember coming back from southern Utah, putting the camping gear back away in the garage, and you have that smokiness from the campfire. And then you also have the herbaceousness of the desert dried herbs down there. And I'm emphasizing that with Dolan dry vermouth here for us, or Rouge rather, off dry. And then Cappelletti. So the ingredients of a classic Negroni is gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari, a red bitter liqueur. I'm changing out the Campari for the Cappelletti. The sweet vermouth is going to be the French sweet vermouth, Dolan Rouge, but I like this because of the herbaceousness, and I'm swapping out the gin with the mezcal for us to really represent the Monkey Wrench Gang and the whole desert landscape for us.
I have a question. What do you use for coolants?
Ice in this case, ice. The mezcal, different from tequila, always has. Anybody ever see a worm
Gusano.
in the bottom? The gusano, the gusano. So this one has it, and when I was batching it out for us tonight, I happened to have the gusano in the bottle that I just served these guys.
Oh, way to go.
There it is. Yeah, I think you have two, or did you already have? You have two.
Both worms.
Try to get the worm. Give him the worm on the other side.
I guess I drank one.
I don't think.
Did I drink?
Ken won't mind your finger the worm, Bill. Finger the worm.
I already drank my worm.
You already drank the. Do the worm.
Do the worm. Do the wave. Do the worm.
I don't want to. No.
Do the hoochie coochie.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh my God, you do have the worm.
I'm not bullshitting here. It's right there in my glass.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Now, how is it managing to swim?
Particularly because it's
I did,
dead, Bill.
funny enough, I did get this bottle from Burning Man this year. I don't know, maybe there's something. Maybe there's something. But that's what you have tonight for that. Do we have any questions? Anything going on? Steve, what do you got?
So, considering the current Save a Lake movement, how do you feel Ken Abbey would feel about our use of, in the current condition of the Great Salt Lake?
He'd weep, wouldn't he? I mean, I think he would just weep. But, I mean, what? He'd be angry? I don't know.
Edward Abbey's died in 1989. So that's 30, 40 years ago. I'm bad at math. I don't, for many, many years, I wouldn't speak about Ed at all. It was too painful. But all these people, Edward Abbey never needed anybody to speak for him when he was alive. But when he was dead, you know, the spine on the cactus was gone, and people, oh, Edward Abbey was my best friend. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I got tired of that garbage. Edward Abbey never needed anybody to speak for himself. And he still doesn't. If you want to know what he really thought about things, read the damn 21 books. Edward Abbey had an ability, with his nonfiction, he created this fictional character named Edward Abbey that appears in his nonfiction. There are so few of us that can write first-person narratives about our own accounts that anyone else would ever want to read. We're just no good at it. Edward Abbey knew the secret, whatever the secret is. And I mean, aren't all of our minds in this room right now exploding with what's going on in our country? There's no debate about it. We are living in a fascist fucking state. And it's up to us. We have to do something about it. There's no one way. There's no one path. And as Edward Abbey always said, I don't want to be a guru or guru-ette. What an awkward word. You got to be your own guru. And there's many, many paths. The people that did the giant golden statues across from the White House of Jeffrey Epstein and Trump holding hands. Hey, man, the rebellion is alive. And there is no one way. But I'm getting off on tangents. I'm sorry. Ed Abbey
We're talking about the lake, the Great Salt Lake.
Okay, next question.
Are there other questions?
Any other questions?
Yeah, here we have one.
Yes, dear.
I think I agree with you on the idea that there's many different paths of like thinking about activism or thinking about like how Edward Abbey considers activism in the 50s or 50 years ago and today. And I'm curious because Bonnie was an interesting character for me, particularly as I think she's really like, there's a couple other female characters, but she's kind of like the female icon in Monkey Wrench Gang. Did you, when it was first published, consider Bonnie to be a feminist icon? And do you think it's aged well today in 2025?
Let me just say, rereading the novel recently, and I think I mentioned this to Ken, I said, there's a lot of sexist bullshit in here. I mean, it's now, you say, well, he's right. But at the same time, the more I thought about it and the more I read and went back and reread some passages, there's sexist bullshit, and yet Bonnie stands up for herself and always gives as good or better than she gets. And I think she becomes a very... not a feminist icon, but she just doesn't take any bullshit. She'll be described in various ways, but not by let me just qualify that. Not by the other three characters. They all talk. Well, I don't know. Hayduke. He's just but people but other characters who look at her and describe her are very sexist about her. But I think she comes across very strong in the end.
One of my favorite Bonnie scenes in the book, she just cannot tolerate Hayduke swearing anymore. And she complains to Doc. Hayduke's trying to defend himself. Well, shit, piss, fuck, Doc. I can't talk if I can't swear. She does hold her own. Is she a feminist icon? Yeah, well, I think she is now. I think, God, if a movie ever got made, boy, would there be an opportunity there. But I got to tell you, of all the Monkey Wrench gangers, the people inspired Ed's characters, I think there's a lot of Ed himself in Doc Sarvis, but he also, his best friend back in those days was a professor named Al Sarvis. Al Sarvis, at a time when he really needed a job in the 60s, got him a teaching job in Illinois, I forget which one, university. Edward Abbey got himself and his pal fired for having improper relationships with one of his students in the first semester. Fucked up royally.
So you're talking about there was this guy, Dr. What
Al Sarvis, he was a professor.
And that actually leads right into this next question that I had.
Wait, not so fast. I'm not done yet.
If I didn't go fast, we'd be here all night, Ken.
Well, yeah, but I got one more thing to say about Doc Sarvis. That's where the name came from. John Dupuy, his painter friend, that between John Dupuy, Jack Leffler, and Ed Abbey, by 1960, there was not a billboard left within 50 miles of Albuquerque. So he called him my friend Debris. Wait, one more thing, Mr. Bill. I knew Ingrid Eisenstatter, a.k.a. Bonnie Abzug. She came to Ed Abbey's wedding. I'm going to make this fast, Mr. Sy. She came to Edward Abbey's wake. Only John Dupuy and Doug Peacock, a.k.a. Hayduke, knew her. I knew her. I went out a number of times with her in New York. I actually sold Edward Abbey's park uniform for her. That woman is living hell. Holy mother of God. She's probably 80 years old now. I tried to involve her in, hopefully get to this later, this Monkey Wrench Gang box, which is the craziest idea I've ever come up with. And I wrote Ingrid and said, well, I'm going to use your portrait by Robert Crumb in here. And I got Ken Slight on his 96th birthday signed 350 of these prints. And I got Doug Peacock to do it. And I asked Ingrid, and Ingrid, what, you want me to sign them? How much are you paying me? You need to tell me every single detail about this book. And besides, sign them. I do not wish to have my autograph commodified.
Good for her.
Ingrid, I've decided to go in a different direction.
Thanks.
It's back to you, Bill.
Thanks, Ken.
Great answer with Bonnie. Appreciate that.
Now you'll see why I wanted to. Ken, the characters in the Monkey Wrench Gang, Doc Sarvis, Bonnie Abzug, Seldom Seen Smith, and George Washington Hayduke, are based on real people that you know. Can you talk about those people?
But
and
Bill,
tell us what they were really like.
But Bill,
Ken.
we've just done Ingrid, Bonnie.
Ken, I'm aware. You don't see the irony here, do you? Never mind. Look, Ken, tell me about. I want to know about. So George Hayduke was based on whom?
Douglas Arapahoe Peacock.
And what was he like? What is he like?
Dougie was a Green Beret medic in Vietnam in the 60s. When he came home, he couldn't function. He had to find something higher up the food chain than he was. He studied grizzly bears in Montana. And Terry Tempest Williams, who was then working as a naturalist at the Utah Museum of Natural History at the U, brought him in the 70s with his movie Peacock's War. And we got together after that, and we ended up breaking into a soda pop machine at the housing where they had him to finish off vodka with orange soda pop. That was my introduction to Hayduke. I had a hell of a hangover the next day. To this day, I do not drink vodka or orange juice.
See, I'm just trying to bring a little focus to things sometimes, Ken.
I'm the color commentator of the dynamic duo here.
I'm just trying to bring focus here. One other question about the characters. You haven't really touched on Joseph Smith, Seldom Seen Smith. Tell us about, I think I know who he's based on, but tell us about that.
Ken Slight went to the University of Utah and got a degree in accounting. In the 1950s, he formed Wonderland Expeditions and took Boy Scouts on trips through Glen Canyon before the dam. His method of accounting with his river company was he had the cash in one pocket of his jeans and the bills in the other pocket. He wasn't much of an accountant, so it's a good thing he went into river running. He and Edward Abbey bought Willow Bend, a ranch on the Green River, pretty close to where the Diversion Falls is, just north of the town. They had great plans for it, never happened.
Was it now what's Pack Creek?
And well, then that came later, not very much later. So Ken moved to Moab in about 1980. He had met a woman from Jackson Hole on a river trip. Ken in the late 70s took me along. I'd been on one river trip with Tom Till in my life, and Ken Slight took me along as a boatman to escort this group of rich Republican women down Desolation Canyon, one of which was Jane, I've forgotten her maiden name, Slight. The other women on this trip was this high-powered attorney named Francesca, who had gone to law school with James Watt.
James, Secretary of the Interior.
1980s, before we...
Who wouldn't allow the Beach
Boys
to
at
be
the White
played
House.
at the
Yeah.
inauguration or whatever.
So the other woman, I don't remember them all, was Mary Hansen.
Is there another worm in there, I hope?
You have the second.
I've gotten both worms. So Mary Hansen was the daughter of Cliff Hansen, a Republican senator from Wyoming, and went on to become a senator before her untimely. Anyhow, I'm going to not tell that rest of the story. That's how Ken met Jane Slight. They went to Moab. They bought Pack Creek Ranch circa 1980. And
He's still
the rest
down there,
is history.
right?
As I said, he signed 350 copies of his contribution to the box on his 96th birthday.
All right. Did you go down there? Send up to
My good friend Richard Quist got him to do it.
Nice.
For me.
Nice. So these people are
They're real life. They're not.
And they're still
they're
around.
Not, they're not technically the characters. Like poor Ken Slight. Yes, Ken has had more than one wife, but at a time. In the novel, he's got a polygamous wife a day's drive from one another. That's not true.
Do I remember right at the very end of the novel, though, he's kind of settled down with just one of them, Susan, I think it was.
I can't remember.
Anyway, listen, let's talk about this, Ken. On the 10th anniversary of the publication of the Monkey Wrench Gang, you published an illustrated edition with drawings by R. Crumb, along with a lot of other accoutrement, calendars, and all kinds of things. How did that come about, and what was the process like? R. Crumb, a New York guy, a notoriously...
New York.
Was
he was from the Midwest and went to San Francisco to be a hippie. No New York.
He didn't live in New York?
No.
Oh, all right.
Nope.
Anyway, so notoriously sort of cranky guy. How did he get involved? How did that all happen?
I'd conceived the idea of pitching to Ed, doing a calendar based on his works. And in my mind's eye, I could see the R. Crumb characters. Robert Crumb could not illustrate any other book by Edward Abbey. It took me a while. We went through 4 years of cartoonists. It just wasn't working. I asked Crumb. Crumb turned me down.
No, you say you were looking at other cartoonists with Ed, you were consulting with Ed about this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I finally, genius that I'm not, I sent a paperback copy to Robert, who was still living in Winters, California at the time. This is long before that movie came out, the documentary about R. Crumb. If you've ever seen it, as strange as Robert Crumb is,
His brother.
he's the normal one in that family.
You should. I forget what.
Just
is
R.
it
Crumb.
called?
Just
Crumb?
Robert. Yeah, Crumb.
Crumb.
Documentary.
And his brother. Whoa.
Well, both of them. One of them slept on a bed of nails.
But it just seems an unlikely pairing in certain ways.
Mutt and Jeff. Look at this. There's a photograph in here of Ernie Bulow took of Ed and Crumb at Courthouse Wash. Oh my God! That day we had Newsweek, we had People magazine, we had Time. There were more many media people there. There were guests. We had a dinner at the group campsite at Arches that night. 300 effing people came to it, and we gridlocked the entire Park Service road. They were not very happy about that.
It's pretty interesting to me that when you think of Monkey Wrench Gang now, you can't think of it without thinking of those illustrations. That they've become so much a part of it. And how did you talk Robert Crumb into doing it?
After he read the book, Wild Horses wouldn't keep him away from He probably would have done it for nothing. Paid him relative big money then.
I wonder if he saw he saw the cartoonish aspects of the characters and went, that's right up my alley.
Yeah. Well, and he'd call me up and say, in that novel Mr. Abbey wrote, all of the activities that his characters do, are there actually people in real life that do that? And I said, yes, Mr. Crumb, there are.
You know, that leads me into actually the next question I have here. But any questions or comments, please feel free to join in the conversation. How did Ed Abbey feel about the actual real life acts of eco-terrorism that might have been inspired by the book? Do you have any sense of responsibility or?
No. Edward Abbey's mantra was, in terms of monkey wrenching, whatever that might mean to you, you always
We'll talk about that too coming up.
did it at night, and you did it alone. And you didn't talk about it.
And so whatever other people did in regard to that, that was their business, not his. Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
más o menos.
He says, regarding the environment, this is what you shall do. Love the earth and the sun and animals. Stand up for stupid and crazy, and take your hat off to no man. Abbey wrote this eco-terrorist adventure, but did he ever do any of that sort of thing himself? Monkey wrenching.
I can't talk about that, Bill.
I think he's dead. No, and B, I think the statute of limitations is kind of run out on all of that.
Well, Ed was down there with Earth First in 1981 when we dropped a 300-foot plastic crack down the face of the dam. Thanks to us. Unless you got a badge.
Describe that whole thing, Ken. It's pretty amazing. I think there is video of it.
Yes, there is. The cracking of Glen Canyon Dam.
Surely, no man-made structure in modern American history has been hated so much by so many for so long with such good reason as Glen Canyon Dam.
And roll away the stones. People stand and roll away the stones.
I had Ed Abbey's telephone number. I'd never called him. Edward Abbey. He'd publish a P.O. box in Oracle, Arizona. You could write him, and he would write you back. But talking on the phone, So Ed calls me one day. Ken, this is Ed. if you want to talk about that silly colander of yours, come down to Lone Rock Campground at Lake Powell for some sort of spring rites. So I drove my old 54 Chevy pickup truck down there. There's a goddamn Volkswagen bus just covered with so much black plastic, it's just spilling all over it. And these redneck hippies blocking the road. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing here? I didn't like their bedside manner. The last thing I'm going to tell them, Ed Abbey sent me. Fuck you guys. Backed up. We had a very tense situation till Ed and his girlfriend showed up later that evening. And then Dave Foreman and the rest of the founders of Earth First gleefully told me of their plans to drop a 300-foot long, 20-foot wide tapered crack down the face of Glen Canyon Dam early the next morning. Thanks to us, none of you can ever set foot on that dam again. Then the truck was parked upside. So by the time we found out, we're all up in my old pickup truck is the stage. Foreman, Abbey. There's photos of a park ranger getting his copy of Ed's book signed, and then all hell broke loose. Siren. Oh God. Everybody in Twins had the sheriff's department from Utah, Arizona, highway patrol, Utah, Arizona, the FBI, whole bunch of unmarked cards, and even the Coast Guard got involved.
Any of you here in the audience inspired by Edward Abbey to do any monkey wrenching? And you don't have to be specific about it, but did any of you ever do anything like that? Yes, you did. You want to share any of that at all in the vaguest of terms? Yeah, go ahead. What'd you say now?
It was just a little thing back in the 20th century. It was probably legal too. I was up on what's the hill west of Capitol Hill?
Ensign?
Yeah, probably Ensign Peak, and it's probably still there. Chain link fence for some boundary border, and there was a gate. Well, somebody left the gate open, and people were driving up the road, and I think it was a gate that was supposed to be closed. So I closed it. I think there was a little chain up around it, and here comes somebody down. Gate's closed. He's got a trailer. He tries to turn it around, runs off the road. Had to go help him get his rig back on the road, open up the gate, and let him out.
You were responsible for your activities.
Yeah.
Yes, go hand the microphone to that. Yeah.
I got to say, we've had some firsthand experience with the, probably not, but possibly the result of some of this monkey wrenching. Like one of the pictures in the limited edition of the 10th anniversary is Always Cut Fence. And we were headed to Zion, and a flock of sheep had gone onto the freeway to a really unfortunate result. So it's like every little aspect of the monkey wrenching could have negative results.
Yeah. Amen, brother. I'm glad you brought that up. What Ed called the morality of violence. If by 85, despite doing way more things than we have time for today to get into, my favorite was when we dumped fake nuclear waste over the DOE hearing at the old Hotel Utah in the 80s for the Canyonlands nuke dumps. That was my favorite personal. But unlike Dave Foreman, who just fed on that, when you have a crowd of 50, 100 people, hundreds of people, in my experience, people give their power over to you. They do not think for themselves. And that Bisti Badlands action scared the death out of me. If you cannot know exactly what the consequences of your action, whatever monkey wrenching might mean to you, like Earth First, we got into spiking trees there in the 80s. I couldn't abide that because someone could be hurt, injured, or killed when that lumber gets sawed. We all have to be responsible for our own actions. And violence against people, living things, and I shouldn't have said people, I mean all living things, except maybe, Bill, mosquitoes.
The bats
we
eat
can't-
the bats eat
we
them, and
can't
the birds
go
eat
there.
them. It is fascinating to think about the history of this as well, because it started out like this crack on the dam. It was pranksters. There was always an element of humor to it in a lot of ways.
God, yes.
Let's do it and make it funny, and nobody will get hurt. Let's just make a point. And that seems to have vanished from. Now we just go shoot people. That kind of attitude has vanished. I would say that I was going to go into some specifics about my own act of monkey wrenching, but it was really, in fact, inspired by Edward Abbey, and I was in Cedar City, and for a summer, I think it was 1978 or so, 9, and there was. The Forest Service or the National Park Service, whichever one, who controlled cedar breaks. And they decided they were going to put up some chain link fencing, around the vista. Because, and the story was, it was because a woman's poodle had run off the edge and died. And so because you used to just be able to, at the time, just walk right up to the edge and look over into the beautiful chasm that is Cedar Breaks. And, a friend of mine and I, we thought we could not abide that. And it was planned out, and we wore dark clothing and went up at midnight and with wire cutters and bolt cutters, and now I've just outed myself and removed.
So you've only broken one of Abbey's rules, Bill.
What was it?
Don't talk about it.
Oh, yeah. And, took down, they'd started to build all the chain link fencing, and we disposed of it. We even had a getaway car. We had a woman drop us off, and then said, "Come back in an hour." But if we're not here, or you see police or something, just drive on. Just drive on.
What was her name? Thelma or Louise?
No, it wasn't. So it inspired a much younger me to do something that. And, I went back 5 years later. They never tried to put the chain link fence back up. I haven't been to Cedar Breaks in a long time, but I think it's still probably clear. You can still walk to the edge and look over and not have to worry about it. Let's see. So Edward Abbey, in the novel, The Monkey Wrench Gang, he provides a blueprint for blowing up the Glen Canyon Dam. Here's what we'll do, and the plan is in place. And it's a good old Seldom Seen he's really the brains of the outfit, and he figures out a good way to blow up the Glen Canyon Dam. They rent houseboats. Here's how we do. We get all this nitrogen fertilizer. We get some blasting caps. We can do it. We'll go down and we'll float down toward the dam. We'll cut the cable to keep boats away, and we'll blow up the dam that way. They never do it. I'm sorry if you haven't read the novel.
Spoiler alert!
They never get the chance to do it, but it's a pretty damn good plan. I'm surprised,
pun intended.
Or maybe I don't know. I'm surprised nobody's ever tried to do it or done it, or have they?
You can't get within a mile of the dam itself, Bill, by water.
It worked in another location, Oklahoma City.
Well, yeah, that's not monkey wrenching. That's yeah. But
I disagree.
But he even had that in mind. There was a cable, and he said we can cut the cable that will keep us from the dam, and float those houseboats down there and blow it up.
But who knew none of that's necessary? All it takes is a 28-year drought.
Yeah, yeah, that really is interesting, isn't it? That the Glen and people knew that back then. I remember reading articles about it. It said the Glen Canyon Dam is nothing but a silt trap,
Yep.
and it will gradually the silt will build up and build up and build up and build up. And this was without thinking about drought. It was just the silt would eventually make the dam unusable.
So now, if any of you have been down Cataract Canyon in the past 5-ish, 10 years,
I have, yeah.
Glen Canyon is coming back. The lower Cataract Canyon rapids, they're back.
Yep.
And these WAGs have named, that are documenting all of this, have named the silt formation that Bill's talking about as the Domini Formation. So you go down there, and 100 feet up there is all these towering banks of silt with dead tamarisks on them. There's a river down here now.
It's a remarkable sight. Edward Abbey, the Monkey Wrench Gang. Any questions, any comments, anything you want to talk about? Please feel free to do it. Otherwise, we're going to, question over there.
Hi, I work at a school library. I'm wondering if you have any recommendations for elementary and middle school. I know about Carl Hyacin. I know there's Schusterman. But do you have any ideas of Monkey Wrench similar reads?
Something similar to for what grade? Middle school? Did you say? Yeah, you couldn't have the Monkey Wrench Gang in middle school. Something's.
I have 13 and 15-year-old grandchildren. The 13-year-old Lyra, so far this year, she's read 250 books.
Jeez.
She just devours books. And at 13, she's ready to read anything, Bill. My parents never censored anything I read as a child, though when I went my first trip to the South Salt Lake Public Library in the 3rd grade, I grabbed Frankenstein, Dracula, all these books, and the librarian, these are from the adult section, they're not for you. But that's hard. I think they should read Rachel Carson and Silent Spring. They should read The Everglades River of Grass by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. We know her name because of the grade school mass shooting, sadly.
Terry Tempest Williams is readable for middle school.
Pieces of White Shell, Between Cattails. I'd have to think about it more. Some of it, I think Desert Solitaire is appropriate.
Although you can't do it as a librarian, but if my middle school child wanted to read the Monkey Wrench Gang, I'd say, okay, go ahead, let's go ahead and read it, and we'll talk about it. But they'd probably, I don't know. They probably would like. I think they would like it actually. But now my kids are adults and they don't read anything anymore. They're just online. Any more questions? Anything? Nope. Okay. So we're going to wrap it up. We're more than happy to entertain more questions or more discussion, even as we start to wind down here. If you didn't feel comfortable asking a question.
And you can hang out informally afterwards. I'm sure Jimmy will still supply you.
Jim's got, Ken has got stuff for sale.
Gabriella has got a whole sales table of Edward Abbey books, T-shirts,
this box,
tote bags.
This is limited edition.
This is the craziest thing. So I have the hardbound rights to publish.
We have another question, sorry to say.
Oh, question. Let's do the question.
One question for you is, when I read Desert Solitaire, which is a while ago, I got the impression that Edward Abbey is not an activist who wants us to be activists. He's more someone who sees nature at times a little bit like a refuge for him, maybe for others, but there is a little bit of an elitist streak If people have limited abilities, if they come with a car, that's not what they should. There's a prescriptive way of looking at and being in nature.
You know, all human beings are complicated. Edward Abbey hated the label naturalist that he got after he wrote Desert Solitaire. I'd also make the observation he absolutely regretted using proper place names about the section in Desert Solitaire about the maze, because there countless people came from throughout the country carrying their Desert Solitaires in their backpacks, and Jim Stiles, the famous Arches Ranger, following in his footsteps. He regretted things like that. And in Journey Home, he has a beautiful piece about, I am not now and never been a naturalist. The only birds I can recognize are fried chicken and rosy bottom skinny dippers. Sexist remark.
You know, you say he regretted certain things, but Edward Abbey, to quote him, said, "Life is too short for regret, or grief, or bullshit." And Seldom Seen Smith said, "I thought I was wrong once, but then I found out I was mistaken."
Yeah, we're complicated people.
And one final quote from Ed Abbey that I just love. If a man can't piss off his own front porch, he's living too close to town. So you all might want to back up a little bit.
Okay, I got two for you, Bill. Wilderness needs no defense, only more defenders.
Yep.
Growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of the cancer cell.
Ed Sanders. Ken Sanders. Ed Abbey, Ken Sanders. Ed Sanders was a beatnik.
Ed Sanders was one of the founding members. I never met him. Ed Sanders, Thule Kupferberg, and the other. The Fugs. The original proto-punk band, the early 60s, the Lower East Side. Great hits. Slum Goddess of the Lower East Side. And they in 1967, 10,000 people held hands and tried to exorcise the Pentagon. Out, demons, out. Hosted by the Fugs. Now, clearly that didn't work.
Fugs had Fugs had two albums that I know of. The first one was called The Fugs, and the second one was called Let's Fug Again. And one of their great songs is called Boobs a Lot.
Do you like boobs a lot?
Yes,
we like boobs a lot. Do you wear your jock a lot? Yes, we wear our jocks a lot. Boobs a lot. Jocks a lot. It didn't get a lot of radio airplay.
No.
Kill for peace.
Yep, kill for peace. Ed Sanders, and yet Thule Kupferberg wrote one of the most beautiful songs ever called Morning. I think it's just called Morning, isn't it? That Richie Havens covered. So there's stuff to look up anyway.
And we want to really thank Dave. And I want to give Dave the floor to talk more about what's going on here at the clubhouse. Thank you.
I want to keep that round of applause going for these two gentlemen that have kept the conversation going.
You can't get a word in edgewise, Dave.
It's hard to get a word in with these two, but thank you, Jim, from the Wine Academy of Utah, for giving me just a little bit of time to let you know a little bit about this building. I know that Bill gave us a little bit of a history lesson, but I just wanted to further let you know what we use this building for today. So as you know, it was a century-old building built by and for the Ladies Literary Club, the oldest women's-only club west of the Mississippi River. And as Bill mentioned, lots of accolades came out of this space. During World War I and again in World War II, the ladies brought their home sewing machines into a circle here and sewed clothes for war veterans, partnering with the Red Cross. They offered the space to the Utah Symphony to practice here before the Symphony Hall was created. The fact that any of us could grow up and in high school take any classes that were art-related, ceramic, sculpture, photography, those were made possible by the Ladies Literary Club, putting arts in our public school system in Utah. So that's a pretty incredible accolade as well. So thank you to the ladies. So as this creative historic venue owner, when I saw Literary Libations and all the effort and the work that Ken Sanders and Bill Allred and Jim from the Wine Academy were putting on, I saw it as an opportunity that it was such an awesome event that had so much knowledge and history, a walking encyclopedia, close to 80-year-old encyclopedia here that we have at our fingertips. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity. I wanted to create a space for a much larger audience. And so we were able to ask them if they would be willing and able to open up the event to moving it here out of the bookstore, which we're really grateful for, because we recognize when you throw an event at a bookstore, everybody comes and the idea is to buy books. When you throw an event at a historic venue, you got to bring the bookstore to the venue. So Ken has been really diligent, and his assistant in the back as well. Thank you so much. Gabriella, thank you for bringing all the books. And we want to encourage book sales, because without book sales, this wouldn't exist. Without integrating into book reading and book selling, this type of event simply wouldn't exist. So we've done a lot of work to bring amazing books, as well as some really limited edition t-shirts that are available for sale as well. We would encourage you to check those out on your way out. And I just wanted to say thank you to Bill and Ken and Jim and everyone, Beehive Cheese as well, for being a part of this event.
Thank you, Heather.
For showing up on a Saturday. Dawson with Let's Eat and Drink podcast. Thank you for coming
and
out.
Hudson, thank you.
The last thing I'll mention is, in addition, we do have a weekly program here. If you are interested in arts and education, check out our website. We have open mic night on Tuesday. We have photography services, darkroom services, digital print lab. We have a music recording studio in the basement. We have a dance party every single Sunday that's family friendly, open to the public. So check out our website for more program. In addition, if you know of anybody getting married or looking for a big public celebration, this is the space for that. So we are open to renting the space on the weekdays or weekends for your public events, as well as promoting arts and education here in Salt Lake City with types of events like Literary Libations, bringing things, expanding them here into the clubhouse that was designed and built for literary pursuits. So thanks again for being a part of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Remember, Edward Abbey said, America, love it or leave it alone. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Sanders, the legend. Thank you.
I've got one more thing to add, then you're free to move around the cabin. The Fisher Kings, aka the Fisher Brewery boys, to honor both my 50th anniversary in bookselling downtown and the Monkey Wrench Gang's 50th anniversary downtown. Tomorrow, 4 p.m., no charge. They open at 11. They have produced a 6-pack of Monkey Wrench Gang beer that includes me. Finally, 50 years later, I get to join the Monkey Wrench. Now, albeit it's just in a 6-pack of beer. The beer will be for sale. The brewery opens at 11. We'll be there all day selling shit. I can't sell beer. They'll sell you the beer. But we're having a party that starts at 4 p.m. It's free, open to the public. Unfortunately, no one under 21. And 6 p.m., both my old filmmaker buddy Trent Harris and Robert Gerke, political writer for the Salt Lake Tribune, will be roasting me. And depending on what they say about me, I've confused the hell out of them by telling them, after you guys speak, I'm going to introduce you. And then I am actually, Bill, this could shock you. I'm going to read something that I actually wrote for a change.
Something that you wrote?
I can. I do read and write, Bill.
I had no idea. Remind me to ask you about it later.
It's going to be a great party. It's free, open to the public.
Fisher Brewery.
The speechifying will take place at 6 in case you just want to come early and drink and eat and get the hell out. Fisher Brewery.
Is only a 1 beer drive away in the spirit of the Monkey Wrench Gang, in terms of distance. Cheers, everybody.
Don't throw your beer cans out the car window.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Literary Libations is a presentation of the Let's Go Eat and Drink show in association with the Wine Academy of Utah, Ken Sanders Rare Books, and the Clubhouse on South Temple. For more information on the Wine Academy of Utah, it's www.wineacademyofutah.com. Ken Sanders Rare Books is an eclectic bookstore located inside the Leonardo Museum. Contact Ken and the store at kensandersbooks.com. In addition to presenting weekly in-house creative programming, the Clubhouse on South Temple is a premier location for weddings, corporate parties, wellness events, photo shoots, musical performances, and more. Go to clubhouseslc.com for details. And for the Let's Go Eat and Drink Show, search your favorite podcast app. You can contact us at the Let's Go Eat Show at gmail.com. I'm Zach Caton, and as the late Paul Harvey used to say, good day.